What's up, Exiles? Paycheck here. For today's video, I'm going to be going over the Aurabot slash Cursebot build that I've been playing for the past 4 days now. I had a little bit of a late league start, but I am up to level 96 on this character, and it's going pretty dang well. Have a couple little changes from my previous video now that I've actually been able to play around with it in game. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we got. Let's get to it. All right, for the gear, things haven't changed too terribly much since my last video. The overall gear that we're looking for is just cover your resistances first, and then beyond that, get as much energy shield, mana, and intelligence as you possibly can to help scale some of the buffs that we're giving our allies. So energy shield, mana, and intelligence is the main stuff that you're looking for. We're still using our two unique items, the Doger's Damning Ring for the additional curse and the Prisoner's Monocles for the slow magnitude that they give. Beyond that, you're going to need Spirit on 3 separate items. So you're going to need Spirit on your chest piece, on your amulet, and you're going to need a little bit of Spirit on your scepter as well. So in total, you're going to need to reach 335 Spirit. That's the final break point for you to run all of your curses in a single blasphemy setup with heightened curse, and then also running Withering Step. So 335 Spirit is your break point. If you can't reach that, then you just remove heightened curse, but I'll go over that in the gem section. Okay. But 335 Spirit, that's what we're going for in total on your gear. Beyond that, just looking at what we have socketed in each piece of gear. In our scepter, we use a primate talisman for the allies in your presence deal increased damage. In our helmet, we use the Talisman of Egrin. For enemies you curse, take 5% increased damage. And since we curse everything, all enemies will take 5% increased damage. If you can, get a helmet with 2 sockets, so you can put 2 of these in, and that would be exceptional, because then that's 10% increased damage, which is even better. For the gloves, I'm currently using the Venomous Runes of Draining. You can also use the Serpent Talismans, which give increased curse magnitude. I went with the Withered Magnitude, though, personally, but both options work great. Again, get gloves with 2 sockets. This is very cheap unique item, so definitely get one with the 2 sockets. Body armor, we're just going for Iron Runes to increase our energy shield. Boots, probably an Iron Rune for most of you. I used a Glacial Rune for a little bit of the cold res because I was a little bit short. But generally speaking, you'll just put an Iron Rune in your boots as well. And then finally, in your focus, you will use the Soul Core of Retreat for faster start of energy shield recharge. Faster start of energy shield recharge and energy shield recharge rate are 2 very, very valuable mods. So get those wherever you can. You don't need to go out of your way for it necessarily, but get it wherever you can. And inside of your focus is one of the easy options. You can also get energy shield recharge rate on your helmet, like I chose to. Also helps a decent amount. Then final thing for the gear, I used to anoint calibration, which gave like energy shield and mana. Now I've switched that to Warlord Leader, which has allies in your presence deal another 40% increased damage and 40% increased presence area of effect. So that's what I went, just to boost party damage just that little bit more. But that covers it about the gear. So let's go ahead and jump to the gems. For our gems, before I actually talk about all this, quick disclaimer about a bug that I know I've heard a lot about. Gotten a lot of questions and comments about a blasphemy bug. So I tested it out quite a bit. There seems to be an issue with the level of blasphemy, and certain level blasphemy gems with certain support gems seems to be the issue. So, based on my experience, level 17, 19, and 20 blasphemy gems are bugged with in all sorts of weird ways. I can't even explain all the ways because it seems to be bugged in some ways for some people and in other ways for others. But for me, level 17, 19, and 20 blasphemy was not working with heightened curse. For me, level 18 blasphemy is the only one that works, but that's totally fine. The only difference between level 18 and level 20 is this little 2% less magnitude of curses. So our curses are 2% less effective, but it's not a huge deal. At least they work. So if you're having issues with blasphemy not working, try switching the level of your blasphemy gem, and hopefully you can get it working. All right. But with that out of the way, for our auras that we're running Malice from our scepter, from the Omen scepter, and we're just linking that to prolonged duration to make the critical weakness that it applies last a little bit longer. For our actual blasphemy setup, we have Temp Chains, Enfeeble, Elemental Weakness, and Despair. Mine are all currently just level 19. Again, I've only been playing now for 4 days, so haven't had the budget yet to increase them all to 20, but not a big deal. And then for the heightened curse in the final socket, again, you need 335 spirit exactly to be able to run all of this. So if you don't have the 335 spirit yet, that's all right. Just take out heightened curse. That lowers the cost by 87 spirit. So significantly easier to obtain, and just replace that with ritualistic curse, and that'll just give you a bigger AoE on your curses. So not a huge deal, but definitely get the heightened curse when you're able to. Finally, we have Withering Presence as our final aura, and that's supported with prolonged duration, and actually I think that's supposed to be prolonged duration too. Damn it. Prolonged duration too. And Chaos Mastery is the second support for that. All right. So that covers all of our auras. And then for single target, so this will only be used primarily just for pinnacle bosses. That's really the only time you'll ever use this. You can take either Elemental Weakness or Despair and have them linked with Heightened Curse, Ritualistic Curse, Magnified AoE, Cursed Ground, and then either Cold, Fire, or Lightning Mastery, doesn't matter, just to increase the level. This just makes it so that you have a massive AoE, and since we're a Lich, these 2 rings never end, so you can just curse the boss arena, the pinnacle boss arena that you're in, and so long as they're in these circles, they will take a full magnitude curse. So this one for me is minus 127% Ele res compared to the blasphemy setup, which is only 85. So you'll lower their res just that much further for your carry. And since we're a Lich, they last forever now. So that's pretty nice. But again, only for pinnacle content. Finally, one thing that I did add to the build, which I did not think of before the league began, is Frostbomb, because now Frostbomb doesn't just lower enemy cold res, it lowers all elemental resists. So it gives elemental exposure as opposed to cold exposure. So now we actually have a button to press, so we can cast our Frostbomb. And we're only using it for the cold exposure, so the level of it does not matter. You can just run it as level 1. It's not a big deal. But we link that to potent exposure for the increased exposure effect, short fuse so that it just goes off very quickly, basically an instant detonation almost. Cooldown recovery, since it does have a little bit of a cooldown, this will help with it. Magnified AoE, and then finally, I put on Second Wind 3, just so that I have 2 casts of it, just in case a boss like jumps out of the way or something like that and I miss, then I get a second shot at them. But not really mandatory. But anyways, that covers it for our skill gems. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the passive tree changes. Here is our Ascendancy tree. This has not changed since my last video. You will first start by going Rupture the Soul and then Incessant Cacophony so that you can get your additional curse and enable the quad curse setup. And then you will take the Necromantic Conduit for the Unholy Might buff for your allies, and finally Blackened Heart for the mana scaling. For our overall skill tree, this is what we're looking at now. As far as changes from previous vid, the only main thing that I can think of primarily is just adding Wither Away, which just withers enemies as soon as they enter our presence. And then it has the increased Wither Magnitude, as well as the 2 Wither Magnitude nodes leading up to it. So we added those for more wither effects, so enemies take more damage from the chaos damage that we are giving to our allies. I kind of understated previously the value of faster energy shield recharge and energy shield recharge rate. Both of those are very valuable for your defenses. If you're feeling squishy whatsoever, more than likely, you're just going to want more energy shield recharge rate and more faster start of energy shield recharge. Once you get both of those to a certain point, you can start taking chip damage. And so long as you don't take damage for a very short amount of time, you're just going to replenish the full very quickly. So that's when your defenses will feel very good. So if you're feeling a little bit squishy or like you have to hide and not get hit for a while before you actually replenish your energy shield, just get more energy shield recharge nodes, and it helps tremendously. Other than that, not much has really changed. We still take the R nodes down here to buff our curses. We, of course, take all of our curse nodes. The passive tree over here did change a little bit since these spirit nodes got moved a little bit, but we path up there to take those, as well as the dependable ward notable up here for the energy shield recharge stuff that I was just talking about. As a possibility, since we are so close to calibration now, and calibration is such a good node for us, as well as the nodes leading up to it, you could potentially remove a little bit of the slow magnitude over here, those 3 points, and save them, and then get 1, 2, 3. To get to calibration, though, would require my exact setup to be level 98 to hit calibration, and I know most people aren't going to want to grind to level 98, but I guess you could remove this this small node here to get there as well. So 97 to hit calibration. So it's an option. It's close. You can do a couple small changes and try to get there because it is a very valuable node. I decided to not take melding since it reduced my maximum mana. If you do, so I will take melding if it does not lower me past my 2500 mana breakpoint. So if with melding, you still have 2500 mana or whatever breakpoint you're at, it goes in 100 mana intervals. So if you're over 2400, so long as you stay over 2400, if you're at 2000, so long as you stay over 2000 with melding, then it's okay, because we just need to hit 100 mana breakpoints. Every time we hit an extra 100 mana, we hit another breakpoint on how much damage we give our allies. So if you can take melding without dropping you past one of those breakpoints, then definitely take it, because it's a lot of energy shield and it's very beneficial. One thing that I wanted to add that I thought of as I was recording this video, something that I'm not currently taking advantage of, but that I want to once some of the bugs get fixed with Blasphemy and weapon set passives and stuff like that with Blasphemy, is to path over here to overexposure on a weapon swap 2. So if you apply weapon set 2 passives to overexposure with the small nodes right next to it, you can get another 50% increased exposure effect on your frost bomb, and then just use the weapon set 1 passives to replace pretty much anything on the tree, really. Maybe some energy shield recharge nodes or something like that. But currently, Blasphemy's kind of bugged with weapon set 1 and 2 and swapping and stuff like that, so I'm not doing it at the moment. But that's just something that you can do to further optimize and get some additional exposure effect in the future. Pretty much covers it for the tree. Again, just taking all the curse nodes, all the aura nodes, and then as much energy shield bonuses as we can, and adding in the wither effect over there on the side. And that about does it. All right, so that does it for updates on the Aurabot/Cursebot build. I will have a link to the POB as well as to my previous videos on this build down in the description below for you guys to check out if you want. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll check them relatively regularly, or you can hop on Twitch since I stream pretty regularly as well, especially around PoE League starts. But other than that, hopefully you guys enjoy the build, and I'll see you next time, Exiles. Take care.